Well, I guess starting this video with guess where I am would be just about the most superfluous possible way to start an ERI update video. I'm in Paris. The reason I'm in Paris, I'll bring this down now a little bit, is because I got to speak at a conference in England, a really cool pro-life conference put on by my friends at SPUC, the Society of the Protection for Unborn Children. It was a really cool pro-life group in the UK that we've been friends with for a long time. Got to meet them at Students for Life conference a long time ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. It's been a long time. And we've kind of all loved each other ever since. All kind of been the mutual fan club. It's really cool because it's like we've been able to teach a couple of awesome teachers how to present the pro-life position even better. And they are constantly speaking. I mean, I feel like about every year I get an email from my friend Emmett telling me how many 100 or 200 schools that he has spoken in the last year, teaching the equal rights argument and some other things that we teach. So it's been a really, really sweet partnership. And finally, I got to speak at a conference. And, you know, as always, I kind of offered for them to, hey, you don't just have to have me do 1 or 2 talks. If you want me to do some Q&As or some role play things or anything, we can do that too. And boy, they sure took me up on it. I want to say I did 5, maybe 6 sessions at the end of the day. Some of those is kind of open Q&A. So obviously I'm in Paris and not England, and the reason for that is because I got to take my wife on this trip, which I don't get to do very often, but I've got to do. Like, this is really the second international trip I was able to take her on in Ireland right before COVID happened, and then this, and it was just very inexpensive to go from England to France. So I got to take my wife to Paris, and this job has been really hard the last few years. Some of you are already aware of that. This video is really made mostly for our donors and our hardcore fans, the ones who would watch a 20 or 30 minute video about what's going on at ERI. And I get a lot of feedback that you guys really like that. So when I say you guys, that's kind of what I mean. This job has been hard. This is a really hard time to be doing full-time pro-life work, especially if you are trying to help both sides to listen to each other, find common ground, to have good dialogues where truth is the goal on that journey, hopefully. This is hard. But this is one of the few perks, is I got to basically take my wife on a really, really absurdly inexpensive anniversary trip to Paris. We just had our 17-year anniversary, and that's been really special. So thank you for making things like this possible, and keep on praying for us the parts of the job that are really hard. I want to tell you one cool story from the England conference. There are so many wonderful things that happened. There were a couple of 100 students there. Clearly they were, or at least a lot of them were already big fans of ERI. I was getting people coming up and sharing that they've watched like all of our videos that we've ever made, that kind of thing, and got to try to, give them a really good experience and answer their. They had really good questions too. There are a lot of questions that I was having to answer that I haven't answered before. So we might put out some of that audio if I can get a hold of it. I know that they were recording. So I want to share with you a mini conversation that happened. Because if you're a donor, it is sometimes hard for us to be able to share with you the stories that really do a great job of capturing the effect, the impact that our work has on people. We have fewer stories than, some of the other awesome pro-life groups that pregnancy centers have and things like that. I don't love sharing like YouTube statistics and things like that because they don't feel as meaningful. But every once in a while, someone does the lovely thing of sharing with us a story of how we've impacted them. And just by the way, if you are one of those people, please feel free to let us know. I talked to someone recently about this. She sent us a really cool story that we featured in our end of year letter last year. Or at least I think we did. And but I just remember specifically, I emailed her just thanking her so much for sending the story. She was like, "Oh, I'm sure you guys get like a few of these a day." I'm like, "No, like a few a year." And she was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because they all assume what you assume. They all assume that we get a few of these a day." So, yes, please share with us. So I want to tell you a story about just a quick conversation I had with a student at the conference in England, and I'll drop a picture of him here. But his name is Declan. We took a selfie together. But before we did that, he shared with me that he saw me speak at the, I think it was the Students for Life conference of 2018. And he said that ever since that talk, he has used ERI pro-life apologetics in literally every single conversation he's had with a pro-choice person ever since, like 100%. And that was a really cool thing to hear. And that is something that I hope, if you are one of our financial supporters, that will make you excited, make you feel like you are investing well in a pro-life group. Because here's this guy in England, and it is hard to be a pro-life advocate in England, and yet he has found our style of dialogue that we teach to be really helpful, and that makes me happy. Okay, I've got a couple of updates for you about things going on behind the scenes of ERI. I'm going to try to not spend too much time on it, but before I do, I wanted to drop in a video from Emily that she is recording from Denmark, because in about a 6-week period, we are speaking cumulatively in England, Denmark, and Canada. So we are all over the place right now, and I just thought it would be special for you to be able to hear from Emily.
Hello from Denmark. I'm here in Vejle, Denmark this weekend in this beautiful scenery. I'm just going to turn around here for a second. This is just the backyard of my host home. Everything here is stunningly green and beautiful. I was invited by Retten to Live, which is the National Right to Life organization of Denmark, to come and spend the weekend with them at their national conference. So yesterday I got to do a whole talk on apologetics. Retten to Live has been a friend of Equal Rights Institute for many, many years. And so a lot of them are already familiar with our core material, and they specifically wanted me to come and talk about what it's like right now being pro-life in a post-Roe America, because it has been making the news here in Denmark, what's happening in the United States. And they're getting a lot of questions from pro-choice people about what to do if the woman's life is at risk, and what about miscarriage and back alley abortions. And so I had the opportunity to tell them about what's happening in the United States and how to respond to those unique kind of post-Roe abortion has become illegal questions. And then this morning, I had the privilege to do a talk at a Catholic church here in Denmark and introduce them to Equal Rights Institute for the first time. So I did a talk on personhood, on the equal rights argument. And then tonight, I'm doing an event for Danish youth, talking about bodily autonomy arguments. So it's been an incredible weekend. We're going to do a little bit of sightseeing this afternoon. So if I get a few pictures, I'll send them over to Josh and he can put them up on the screen in this video. But my favorite part of this trip was the opportunity to meet Jonathan and Pauline. If you don't know, we have affiliate groups at Equal Rights Institute. We have 37 of them right now. They're pro-life clubs all over the United States and also all over the world, because we have 2 affiliate groups here in Denmark. And I had the opportunity to meet the leaders of those 2 affiliate groups. Jonathan is one of them. He runs our affiliate group in Copenhagen, and Pauline runs the one in Aarhus. And they're both very involved with Retten to Live and are doing seminars throughout the country as well. So thanks to Jonathan and Pauline's help, along with Kristen on staff at Retten to Live, they have thus far done 5 ERI-style seminars in Danish here, where they teach the entire Equip for Life course to pro-life people. And they're continuing to do the next one, I think, is in April. So they're doing even more of these now, thanks to our affiliate group program being able to help train them how to do this and giving them free courses. So thank you so much for making this possible. I've had an amazing weekend with Jonathan and Pauline and all of the folks here at Retten to Live.
Okay, so it's our first ERI update with multiple people in it, which is really cool. I'm glad that Emily was able to share all of that. Okay, so Equip for Life Academy, this massive project that we've been working on for a long time, is going really well in the sense that it is so easy to tell right now in the post-production process, the editing process, that this is going to be really good. It's going to be easily the best thing that we've ever made, like the highest quality, most helpful thing that we've ever made. But it's been a little bit frustrating for me because this is now, I don't know, I want to say at least the 3rd at like 3 out of 3 in a pattern of predicting how long a really big ERI project would take and underestimating how long it would take. That happened with the Equip for Life course, that happened with the Sidewalk Counseling Masterclass. It's probably happened with something else too. Like, it's become kind of an internal joke that everyone kind of laughs at, that anytime Josh thinks he knows how long something will take, he's wrong, because I think in my head, I'm just thinking about how long it would take if this were like, if we're getting to spend most of our days working on this thing, at least for several hours a day. And this is not the way the real world ends up working, especially right now, if you're doing pro-life work. I mean, we're doing so much speaking, but it's still frustrating because this is still when I was really hoping to be done. And we're not. We still have a lot of work to do. And I have a question for you that I know I'm only going to get responses from the people who are still watching at this point, which means you're either a big ERI fan or a donor, probably. And I would love to personally hear from you your answer to this question. I wonder if I am overly concerned about whether we seem busy enough to you. If you are financially supporting the work that we're doing, I take that really seriously. I take how we spend our time, how we spend that money, like when I'm having to, research and buy video equipment for, or something like that. Like, I take that really seriously. It's not like we have a ton of funding and I want to be really, frugal and careful with that. That thing goes with time, with staff hours. And I feel pretty self-conscious in a situation like this where I was hoping that we would have this project done by, roughly the end of January was kind of the most optimistic possibility. And it's so not, it's just not. It's going to be, I shouldn't even tell you what it's going to be. I'll probably be wrong. I've in my head, I kind of think I know how much longer it's going to take. But I guess I worry that might look to you like we're not working very hard. Or maybe that we're not very good in our jobs or something like that. And it occurs to me that I might be wrong about that. Because there were a ton of pro-life nonprofits that just don't produce as much material as we produce. And that doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong or anything. I'm just saying, just like, they might have other parts of their mission and they're just making fewer things. But it seems like their donors don't mind. And so I'm just curious, like, if you've been following for a long time, when at least for the third time, we've undertaken a massive project that's going to take over a year to complete, along with obviously the other things that we're trying to do at the same time, which is a ton of speaking trips. We've never been so busy with speaking trips. The podcasts, the videos, the articles, like, the affiliate group program, we're coaching like at least 35 clubs actively. The TikTok videos that Emily's posting literally every day that are getting, that got us over 4 million views just in the first year of our TikTok channel alone. Like, all of that other stuff going on at the same time as trying to get this long-term massive project done. Do you end up wondering, like, what's wrong with those guys? And I don't want to feed in other possible answers, like a multiple choice. Just like, I'm interested in what your reaction is when you hear something like that. That would be, well, if nothing else, that would help me to more accurately maybe have the sense of what that experience is like for you. So we're really busy with that. But I brought it up also just as far as like, the main update that I wanted to share with you is we had another thing. We had another thing delay it. That was very, very unexpected, which is that our awesome administrator, Jen, who's been with us for 5 years, resigned. And it wasn't anything bad. There's no behind the scenes story or something. She literally got a total uninitiated call from a former boss. Like, her former boss just reached out to her and basically said that she had created a job with her in mind and offered her more than twice what we're paying her. Like, it was such a good offer that I would have been annoyed to see. I think I would have been a little bit mad at her if she hadn't taken it, because ever since ERI began, I've really been intentional about caring more about our team members flourishing in their lives more than just what is best for ERI. Like when you just care mainly about the bottom line of the corporation, then often the staff start getting treated badly. And we want to be really careful about that. I care about our staff having a healthy life, like a healthy work-life balance, healthy families. And that's been constant since the beginning of ERI. Most of you just don't get to see that unless you are working here. But I am so glad that she got that offer. And yet, boy, does that really throw a wrench in things. And so that meant that I had to spend several weeks trying to find a replacement. And we did. Found an awesome replacement. It just took a few weeks, but her name is Campbell. This will be public by the time this video comes out. And she's wonderful. She's been volunteering for us for at least 5 years. When we did that process of porting the podcast that was originally just made for Equip for Life, and then we moved it over to the public, or at least a lot of the episodes to the public, but we couldn't move all of them because some of those episodes were made kind of with people who had seen the entire course in mind. Like, that was a really complicated transition for us. And we had multiple volunteers, including Jim Burke, our star volunteer. I don't know how many hundreds of hours of volunteer hours that he has logged by this point, but it's at least a few hundred, I think. And Ellen was a part of that process. More recently, Ellen helped design our new really great shirts and buttons. And I'll put pictures up on the screen. I'll put a description also for them in the link. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, word for word, what it says. So I know if I want to try. But the shirts came out so good that when we set up our booth at the March for Life Expo in DC, we weren't planning on wearing those shirts as like the ERI uniform the entire week, but we did. Once we put them on, it was like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. The orange letters on it, I don't know if you can really tell for the pictures, because I was just shocked by how great it looked, like how bright and eye-catching it was. And then we have button versions of that too. And Ellen has personally handmade hundreds of those buttons for us. Our students love them. They love putting those like on their backpacks or shirts or whatever. And Ellen makes those by hand. Ellen was really passionate about the pro-life issue, and yet it's not like she's one of those people that feels like she's got to be a big speaker or a writer or something to be doing important work. Like, she is perfectly happy listening to a podcast and just doing the kinds of, menial tasks. I don't mean that in any kind of a pejorative way. The kind of things that I don't want to be doing if I want to try to be accomplishing the things that only I can accomplish. And she just loves that. And so she's been in the ERI sphere for at least 5 years. She knows like all of our content. She's already proven herself as being a hard worker and great to work with. And so she is our new administrator, and we are really, really happy to have her on board. But for that reason, Equip for Life Academy is going to be, finishing is going to be even more delayed than we thought it would be, because I wasn't expecting to need to take a few weeks to fill a position. And that was a position that had to be filled as quickly as possible. I was like, I am doing a lot of the administration stuff right now. Like, we're kind of in process of bringing Ellen on. She needs to move to Charlotte and stuff. And so I'm doing some of the things that I used to do. And so is Emily. We're all kind of, carrying some of that load, but it definitely, it slows us down. This is why we hire awesome administrators like Jen, and before Jen, Kim Bagata, who just, it's kind of like the mission statement of this job has always been, you are here to get as much stuff off of Josh's plate as possible so that Josh can go try to spend as much of his time doing the things that only Josh can do. And Kim very happily did that. I know she's watching this because Kim still watches all of our stuff, and I still get emails from her reacting to it. So hi, Kim. You are wonderful, and I miss you. But Jen even expanded that to kind of everyone. She was assisting Emily and Andrew as well. It's just kind of like anything that she could do to help us, she did. Is she really, boy, those are big shoes to fill, but we believe that Ellen will be able to fill them well. But of course, it's a delay for Equip for Life Academy. So I'm really, really excited for what it's going to be, how it's going to look in the end. Like, you are going to be so proud of us and proud of it when you get to see it. Every time I get to kind of show our team like some kind of new element or something different or unique that is happening, like everyone gets super excited at just the kind of step up that we have made from the videos that we made before to the videos that we started making for them. So it's just, it's just another level of quality that took a lot of work to be able to learn how to do and to do. It makes the editing take longer, but it's worth it. We want this course to be really professional, something that teachers will be excited to use year after year after year with their students. So then we'll be able to have a huge influence on students at religious high schools all across the country. Not to mention, there'll be church like Sunday school groups doing it too, and there's other groups, homeschool groups and things, but religious high schools is the primary demographic that we had in mind. And we wanted to be something that is impressive to the people who are considering using it for their class, even if they've never heard of ERI before. I want them to show like this is careful, it's professional, and it's literally designed for a mixed audience. That makes it different than how we created Equip for Life course and the Sidewalk Counseling Masterclass. Like, this is made knowing there will be pro-choice students in the classroom having to watch this, having to participate in activities. And so we were really sensitive to that in the way that we always are, but especially here in how we wrote it, what kinds of activities that we included, and exactly how we set them up to make this as inviting and not frustrating as possible for the pro-choice students who are going to be having to watch this and listen to it and hear the best pro-life arguments that I think exist through that process. And so that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for making all of this possible. I'd love to hear from you about the question that I asked earlier. And I'm really cold now, and I'm going to go find my wife. So God bless. Thank you so much for everything. It's really windy, and that's causing the phone to spin around. So I'm just going to have to deal with that. But that's okay, because we're in Paris. And I'm along the river Seine, I think it's pronounced, and it's windy, and it's really, really cold. This is not like the peak tourist time to peak in France. And now I know why. Sessions at the end of the day, some of those is kind of open Q&A, but it was really good. It was really interesting. I don't know why there's so many French police walking in the background. Hopefully everything's fine. It's only so often that I can share with you, I don't know why someone is watching. Oh, okay. I'm getting, this part is not going to be in the video. Sorry? TikTok? Yes, YouTube. Well, YouTube.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Au revoir. Okay. Boy, how much do people want to be in a video? How is he going to find this? Like, what's the point? Okay.